using the UHC Knowledge Hub to be established in Japan. We will also promote the enhancement of the region's capabilities to respond to infectious diseases through collaboration with research centers in Africa. The third area is the initiatives in the fields of environment and disaster risk reduction. The Africa Clean Cities Platform, which is the framework to improve public health through waste management, has been introduced to 200 cities in 47 countries. We will promote infrastructure development and other initiatives by collaborating with international organizations. It is also important to ensure preparedness for diseases which have been increasing due to climate change. Japan will help Africa prepare for disasters by collaborating with international organizations and using AI, satellite monitoring, and other technologies. In the following discussion, I hope that you will have an active exchange on ideas on human resources development and other forms of investment in people, empowerment of women and youth, and on measures to achieve the SDGs based on the human security principles, including those for health and disaster risk reduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. Mr. Shu is Acting Administrator and Associate Administrator of UNDP. That is a co-organizer of TICAD 9. He will now deliver a speech. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President of Ghana, Your Excellency, Mr. Kishida, former Prime Minister of Japan, my fellow co-organizers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Africa is at the epicenter of remarkable progress, which is home to 12 of the 20 fastest growing economies globally. Yet, at the current pace of progress, Africa will not reach the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Spending on health, averaging just 7% of national budgets, is less than half of the 15% targets. More than 4 in 5 workers in Africa are in informal jobs, making it harder for families to escape poverty. Africa can overcome these challenges and unlock its full potential. But it will require bold, coordinated action across the continent. This means aligning planning, financing, and governance across the continent in every country. This also requires a systems change approach that can effectively tackle complex and interconnected challenges. This means also directing financing, technology, and skills where they are needed the most and when they deliver the greatest benefits. With our partners, UNDP is supporting African countries in accomplishing just these very goals. Consider our innovative community development model, PUDC, PDL. It is active in countries such as Senegal and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It facilitates a clear goal, investing in important areas such as health and schools that boost human security. Notably, it is largely funded by domestic resources with accountable systems in partnership with UNDP. And through boosting access to key areas like clean water and electricity, we have helped lift 50 million people out of multidimensional poverty since 2015, all done under the African national leadership. TICAD is uniquely positioned to help scale and this and the other and the numerous successful examples by aligning actions with SDGs, strengthening our capacities that promote effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions, we can unlock the potential, achieve our goals. So, turning today's progress into lasting transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shu, UNDP's Acting Administrator and Associate Administrator. Next, I would give the floor to Mr. Diagana, who's the Regional Vice President, Western and Central Africa of the World Bank, and that is another co-organizer of TICAD 9. Mr. Diagana, you have the floor.
Thanks very much, Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Kishida Fumio, representative of the government of Japan, former Prime Minister of Japan, His Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, African Union Commission Chairman, His Excellency Mr. Aoling Shu, Under Secretary General, UNDP Acting Administrator, Excellencies, Head of the Delegation, representative of international organization and the regional organization, ladies and gentlemen. Africa is at a turning point. With a rapidly growing youth population, we must invest in people to unlock the continent's full potential. This means prioritizing education, health, and job creation as pillar of inclusive and sustainable development. First, we must address the education and skills gap. Across Africa, over 12 million young people enter the labor force each year, yet only a fraction find formal employment. In West and Central Africa, for example, over 6 million youth enter the labor market annually, with just 500,000 formal jobs created. Vocational training and digital skills are essential to bridge this divide. Today, less than 2% of youth participate in technical vocational education and training programs, far below the global average. The World Bank is scaling up support for programs that align training with market need and investing in digital skills that could unlock over 230 million jobs by 2030. Second, job must be central to our strategy. We are pursuing a three-part approach: investing in infrastructure, health and education to lay the groundwork for employment; supporting governance reforms to create a predictable business environment; and mobilizing private capital to stimulate entrepreneurship and labor demand. In Senegal, our Jobs and Economic Transformation Program has already created over 21,000 jobs and is expanding. Third, we must strengthen health system and improve access to clean water and sanitation. These are not just social priorities, they are economic imperatives. Poor health and lack of clean water undermine productivity and resilience. The World Bank is supporting climate-resilient infrastructure projects like the Luanda Beta Water Supply Initiative in Angola, which mobilized nearly $1 billion to expand access. Fourth, sustainable financing is critical. To improve skills, health, and infrastructure, massive investment are needed. This will require a combination of strategies, including one, raising domestic revenue, including tax reform to increase fiscal space; two, debt management, including restructuring and reduction where necessary; third, creative financing mechanisms such as private sector investment, public-private partnerships, debt for development swap, diaspora bond, green bond, etc., etc. Many countries in our regions operate below the 15% tax to GDP threshold needed for fiscal sustainability. Through targeted reform, countries like Nigeria have increased VAT collection by over 1% of GDP. Côte d'Ivoire debt for education swap saved 330 million euros while boosting education investment. Finally, we must embrace inclusive, people-centered strategies. Co-creation, working hand in hand with youth, women, and communities, ensures that solutions are grounded in local realities and shared ownership. Aligning national development plan with global sustainability goals will help ensure no country is left behind. Let's commit to empowering Africa and its youth with the tools, opportunities, and services they need to lead the continent transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diagana, Regional Vice President, Western and Central Africa of the World Bank. Next, I respectfully invite His Excellency Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of Kenya, and the champion of institutional reforms of the African Union, to make remarks from the perspective of the African Union. You have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to address this distinguished forum of 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development here in this historic and vibrant city of Yokohama. Over the years, TICAD has remained faithful to its founding principles of African ownership, inclusivity, openness, and genuine partnership. We commend the government of Japan and the co-organizers for sustaining this unique framework. Kenya deeply values Japan's consistent support in critical sectors: education, health, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and security. These partnerships have been central to Africa's socio-economic progress. Excellencies, even amid relentless and overlapping global crises, Africa's economies are among the fastest growing in the world. In 2025, Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP is projected to grow at 4% compared to a global average of 3%. Yet, these impressive numbers have not sufficiently translated into meaningful poverty reduction, substantive employment creation, or enhanced fiscal space for domestic resource mobilization. This is why the theme of TICAD 9, to co-create innovative solutions with Africa, is both timely and fitting. It reminds us that growth must be translated into real impact on people's lives, moving from macroeconomic numbers to grassroots transformation. Excellencies, resilient, adaptive, and inclusive societies form the foundation of Africa's transformation. The societal pillar challenges us to invest deliberately in people, including their health, education, and their well-being. Only then can Africa unlock its vast potential through holistic human capital development. Africa is richly endowed with natural resources and a youthful population of nearly 400 million, bursting with energy, creativity, and innovation. Yet, systemic social challenges persist. To close this gap, we must champion programs aligned with global, regional, and national priorities, but tailored to build inclusive and resilient societies that leave nobody behind. In Kenya, for example, we are implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda anchored on building a fair and inclusive society where every citizen has a stake in our nation's progress. By expanding opportunities, enhancing access to services, and empowering communities at the grassroots, we are bridging divides and ensuring prosperity is shared equitably. Ladies and gentlemen, shared prosperity is the tide that lifts all of society. Africa's urgent challenge is to accelerate the pace of inclusive wealth creation, to eliminate poverty, create jobs, and restore dignity. This requires correcting the entrenched imbalance in global trade, where Africa exports raw materials and imports finished goods at a premium, a structure that locks our people out of opportunity and stifles our industrialization aspirations. Partners like Japan can help remedy this skew by investing in local manufacturing and industrialization, supporting local agricultural value chains, and financing renewable energy systems to power industry. Africa has abundant resources, land, minerals, renewable energy, and a young tech-savvy workforce. By adding value to what we produce, whether it is coffee, tea, minerals, textiles, or services, we build industries, create local wealth, and therefore empower our citizens. This is how Africa stops being the world's supplier of unprocessed raw materials and extractives and becomes a global hub of high-value production, innovation, and prosperity. Excellencies, the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of economies without robust health systems. That is why, over the past year, Kenya has embarked on reforms directed towards attaining universal health coverage by strengthening primary health care, prioritizing prevention, upgrading infrastructure, training personnel, and securing vaccines, diagnostics, and medicines, all funded through locally mobilized resources. In less than a year, over 25 million Kenyans have registered with the Social Health Authority, up from about 8 million under the former scheme. Millions of families can now seek quality medical care without impediment, either due to lack of access or prohibitive costs. Yet these robust health systems demand significant resources to actualize. We welcome Japan's support through contributions to the Global Fund, training facilities, and the Africa Vaccine Manufacturing Accelerator. These interventions must be scaled up to guarantee universal access across Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution is reshaping economies. Education and research must therefore form Africa's response, equipping our young people to seize opportunities in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, robotics, and digital innovation. We were told yesterday by the Secretary General of the UN that AI must now mean Africa included. We appreciate collaborative initiatives to promote science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We call for scaling up exchanges under the Africa Business Education Initiative, the Timbuktu Initiative, the African Youth Program 2025, and joint research linkages between Japan and African countries. Excellencies, Africa contributes barely 4% of global emissions, yet suffers disproportionately from climate change. Addressing this injustice requires equitable climate finance, predictable support for adaptation and mitigation, and urgent implementation. We urge Japan to champion climate justice and advance this agenda at COP30. We welcome Japan's pledge and commitment to support UN reforms, including expanding the Security Council to grant Africa permanent representation as an act of natural justice. The quest for peace in Africa is inseparable from the demand for equity in global finance, both at the security level and at the financial level. We look forward to progress being made under the UN 80 initiative later this year. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, President Ruto, for that insightful commentary. I'd now like to ask Co-Chair Mr. Kishida to take over the proceedings. Kishida-san.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair Mahama. We now would like to open the floor to our participants. As in previous plenary sessions. If you wish to speak, please press the button on the microphone on the desk at your seats to indicate your intention to make a statement. Once you are called on to speak, please do so using the microphones at your seats. To ensure we hear from as many participants as possible, we kindly request that all speakers limit their statement to a maximum of 4 minutes. The microphone will be automatically switched off when the time arrives. So now I would like to open the floor for requests to speak. Those who have made a request to speak, but there is no microphone for you to speak, please stand the country tag. And if there is no country name tag, please raise your hand. Our staff member will come to you. Those of you from Africa and also members of the international organization and others, we kindly ask you, if you have a request to speak, please do so. So we are seeing a number of requests to speak. Let me call upon Comoros. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Co-chairs, ladies and gentlemen, heads of states, heads of delegations, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to be able to speak at the plenary session 3, which is to build a resilient society in Africa. Aspirational and sustainable challenge must be taken on. Sustainable future must be built through investing in people. Africa is a young continent. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of talent. Capacity building, youth and women must be empowered, which is at the core of our strategy. And that is something that will build an inclusive society. Local talent should be tapped into to unlock the potential of the youth. Sustainable future requires education and capacity building. Innovation and creativity are also indispensable. Cultural exchange, arts, and entrepreneurs to be supported. And the society will be revamped. Solidarity and social justice are also important to make social services sustainable. We must take action. Progress must be equal to all. Health is also an important factor. Universal health coverage, UHC, must be ensured, and access to clean water, access to sewage, and preventing illness. That leads to dignity. Comprehensive and inclusive education must be at the foundation. All children must have access to education, science, technology, and research, and education must be our focus. STEM education is critical as well. Social resilience is needed because that is something that will protect our people, and disaster risk prevention is also necessary. And this is something that will emerge out of solidarity and dialogue with Africa and its partners. Through innovation, we want to leave a better society to the next generation, to our future. And therefore, our commitment must be turned to action. That is what TICAD is. Let's turn culture into solidarity. So human rights environment, healthcare, education. And that will lead to a sustainable future for Africa. With a strong partnership with Japan, this, I think, will be possible. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
President Azari, thank you very much. Photo, please.
Co-chairs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am privileged to speak before this distinguished assembly as we focus on the society pillar, a fundamental element for the sustainable progress of our cherished continent. The emphasis on human security, education and health aligns closely with Lesotho's national development goals and our aspiration for a society that is both inclusive and resilient. While Lesotho is a country marked by strength and perseverance, we face numerous complex challenges. Youth unemployment is an urgent issue, significant enough for my government to declare a state of emergency. Additionally, climate change impacts, inadequate infrastructure, and limited access to quality health and education services hinder the full potential of our people. The society pillar rightly reminds us that the foundation of sustainable development is the well-being of citizens. It is essential that economic advancement result in real improvement in education quality, accessible health care, gender equality, and social protection. We urge our international partners, including Japan, to collaborate with us in investing in digital infrastructure, enhancing health systems, fostering youth entrepreneurship, and bolstering social safety nets. Such efforts are crucial for closing disparities and unlocking opportunities across Africa. Furthermore, we must recognize the critical role of labor migration in driving economic growth and fostering social development. By facilitating safe and regular migration, we can harness the skills and talents of our youth, both at home and abroad. To this end, we call upon our partners to invest in sectors that prioritize job creation, particularly in agriculture, renewable energy, and technology. This investment will not only empower our workforce, but also contribute to the overall stability and prosperity of our communities, ensuring that every individual has the opportunity to thrive in a dignified and fulfilling manner. Lesotho firmly supports the society pillar of TICAD 9 as a vital pathway towards building robust, healthy, and inclusive African society. Together, let us promote human security and social progress as essential foundations for the continent's sustainable future. I thank you.
Thank you very much. And next is Tanzania.
Co-chairs, Excellencies, heads of state and government, Excellencies, heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to address this distinguished summit under the timely theme, Society Realizing a Sustainable Future. A sustainable future is not an abstract, it is a collective responsibility to protect our environment, empower our people, and build resilient economies that serve both present and future generations, as we are all connected. As African Union members guided by the Agenda 2063, aspiration number 1 for a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, we have made notable progress in addressing the challenges of limited access to essential services and basic necessities for our people. Excellencies, United Republic of Tanzania firmly believes in people-centered approach to building sustainable society in which no one is left behind and all citizens have access to essential services. In line with our Tanzania Development Vision 2050, which was recently launched in July this year, we will continue to work closely with the East African Community, SADC, AU, and our development partners, including and specifically Japan, to advance human resource development and creative industries, universal health coverage, access to electricity and renewable energy, food security, access to clean water and sanitation, reliable infrastructure, youth vocational training and employment, and digital transformation for inclusive growth, all while safeguarding and planning for our natural resources. To achieve these goals, we value Japan's long-standing partnership and propose further collaboration in main three key areas. Number one is the health sector. We commend Japan's leadership in global health and its collaboration with African countries and the Global Fund in fighting infectious diseases such as HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, and as well as strengthening health systems. Tanzania calls for continued Japanese support to the Global Fund's 8th replenishment. We also stress the importance of achieving universal health coverage by addressing social, environmental, and economic determinants of health, increasing domestic health financing, and adopting a health in all policies approach. We propose partnership in combating antimicrobial resistance, expanding rehabilitative, palliative, and geriatric care, investing in laboratories and diagnostics, disease surveillance and supply chains, harnessing digital health and AI, which is Africa included, in service delivery, and implementing national health adaptation plans to address climate-sensitive diseases. Second is the energy sector. We seek Japan's support for the World Bank's and ADB's Mission 300, providing electricity access to 300 million Africans by 2030, as endorsed in the Dar es Salaam Declaration. We also propose cooperation in e-mobility, clean energy in transport, and the promotion of clean cooking technologies to protect our environment and improve our rural livelihoods. United Republic of Tanzania has already started championing this under the leadership of Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. And number three is the disaster preparedness. Tanzania calls for stronger collaboration to enhance disaster preparedness and build climate-resilient infrastructure. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Ethiopia, please.
Thank you, co-chairs, chairperson of the African Union, distinguished heads of delegations. It is an honor to address this distinguished gathering of TICAD 9, a vital platform for fostering sustainable development and meaningful partnership across Africa. Ethiopia remains committed to people-centered development approach prioritizing health, education, environmental sustainability, and cultural exchange as the foundation for resilient and thriving communities. We believe that investing in human capital, especially among our youth, is essential. With over 60% of Africa's population under the age of 25, empowering this generation is critical for shaping the continent's future. Africa's demographic potential must be harnessed through education, training, and skills development. TICAD's focus in this regard aligns perfectly with our aspirations. Ethiopia's experience with the Kaizen philosophy, introduced in 2009, is a testament to how structured capacity building can transform productivity across public and private sectors. The TICAD Kaizen Center in Ethiopia now serves as a hub for disseminating these practices continent-wide. We extend our sincere appreciation to the government of Japan for investments like the ABE program, which support training and human resource development. However, to better meet Africa's development needs, training must address current skills gaps and be aligned with industrial priorities. We emphasize the importance of technical and vocational education, especially in health, ICT, and engineering. Enhanced university partnerships and expanded scholarship opportunities will be vital. In health, we are grateful for ongoing support to expand access to services, including mobile clinics and vaccine programs. Yet, more targeted assistance is needed to strengthen health extension services and improve preparedness for future pandemics. Africa's youth and women are increasingly driving innovation, particularly through digital solutions to social challenges. Supporting startups and entrepreneurship, especially those addressing critical issues like health, can generate sustainable development outcomes. On climate change, Africa, despite its minimal contribution to global emissions of greenhouse gases, bears a disproportionate burden. Ethiopia, affected by recurrent droughts, has taken proactive steps through our Green Legacy initiatives by planting billions of trees. We urge TICAD partners to prioritize practical local-driven climate actions and provide sustained financial and technical support for such efforts. In conclusion, as global progress toward the SDGs and Agenda 2063 faces growing challenges, especially in financing, Africa calls for bold, innovative funding mechanisms and reforms to the global financial system. We believe TICAD must continue evolving into a platform for equitable and effective partnership grounded in mutual benefit and shared responsibility. I thank you.
Thank you very much for your statement. And today, not only African states, we also have other organizations who are participating in this venue, who have also requested to speak up. Kei Danren, over to you. Thank you, Chair. I am Karube from Toyota Tsusho, heading the African Committee in Kei Danren. Is this a great opportunity? I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Africa has abundance of resource and expected to see rise in consumption. And based on Agenda 2063, they are looking and have begun to take their own path towards development.